Phil asked me to put this one on, so thanks, Phil, for that request. The song is called Exchange Flags, and is set in the area just behind Liverpool Town Hall, where the cotton merchants used to conduct their trade, where formerly the slave trade had been conducted. The chorus is a line I've taken from an old American folk song, Cotton-Eyed Joe, which was popularised by Nina Simone in the 60s. I've taken the words and put my own melody to that chorus. It goes like this. Back in old glory days, long since forgotten, the flags here were smothered in snowy white cotton, soft as a carpet beneath merchant feet. King Cotton was plenty, King Cotton was cheap. It came by the Mersey, it came by the seas, white canvas aloft in the westering breeze, by Liverpool sailors, nimble and yar, tough as mahogany, weathered as tar. And where do you come from, and where do you go? Where do you come from, my Cotton-Eyed Joe? And where do you come from, and where do you go? Where do you come from, my Cotton-Eyed Joe? I come from the rivers, I come from the mud, I come from the kick and the stick and the blood. I come from the work line, the whip, the plantations. I come from the fracture and breaking of nations. For cotton is gentle, fragile and light, cotton so pure and pristine and white. But the commerce of cotton, darker than death, would barter your soul and crush your last breath. Where do you come from, and where do you go? Where do you come from, my Cotton-Eyed Joe? And where do you come from, and where do you go? Where do you come from, my Cotton-Eyed Joe? I go by the engine, the steam and the rail. I go by the 100-weight bale over bale. I go by Manchester, Bury and Preston, Blackburn and Bolton and Darwin and Nelson, where there's brass for the boss and poor spinning Jenny works hour by long hour for less than 1 penny, where the air is so thick it smothers the lung, and the thundering loom drowns the Lancashire tongue. And where do you come from, and where do you go? Where do you come from, my Cotton-Eyed Joe? And where do you come from, where do you go? Where do you come from, my Cotton-Eyed Joe? Cotton by bowl, by bag and by bale, for smocks and for shirts and for duckcloth and sail. Cotton for mills, for ships and plantations, enriching mill owners, impoverishing nations. Cotton for tyranny, hardship and slavery. Cotton for unions, resistance and bravery. Back in old glory days, long since forgotten, it came by the Mersey, that snowy white cotton. And where do you come from, and where do you go? Where do you come from, my Cotton-Eyed Joe? And where do you come from, and where do you go? Where do you come from, my Cotton-Eyed Joe? Thank you.